Hello. Welcome to the August Soulcast and Energy Report. My name is Dawn L. I'm excited to be with you and tap into the energy of August. I cannot believe I say this every month, but it does feel like June, July went by in the blink of an eye, doesn't it? It's just things are moving quickly. In case you're new to me, I'm a Oracle multidimensional healer. And most importantly, I specialize in helping women become their thriving future selves now with love, money, success. And I love doing these reports because it gives me an opportunity for myself to feel into the energy of what's going to be happening, but to most importantly, to share it with you so that it can support you throughout the month and how you can navigate things from a really, kind of objective, more empowered way. So, as you may or may not have known, yesterday we had a full moon in Aquarius. To be completely frank with you, I barely slept last night because that full moon, it got me. It got me. I was buzzing with energy and with just so much. So I'll get into that in a little bit. But first, I just want to start off with the card for August. So what is going to be the overall theme for August, what we're going to be feeling into, what we're going to be looking at. And so let me just get that going and I'll share it with you in just a moment. Okay. So we got the movement, choices, and decisions card for the month of August. So when it comes to this card and just kind of tapping in, I'm going to write it down first so I can just get in the energy of it. The first thing I'm hearing is you get to decide when to end your suffering, when you get to heal, when you get to thrive, when you get to, move forward essentially. So many times we defer our power and our agency outside of us to something in our external reality, thinking that if this thing happens, then I'll be more whole or I'll feel better about myself. This is a month to really decide who you want to be, what you're stepping into, how much you want to heal, because there's so much available to you. We are in this really beautiful energy of softening and slowing down. That's one of the things I was tuning into for this month, is that there's going to be a lot of changes. There's going to be a lot of surprises, a lot of epiphanies, a lot of aha moments, things kind of making sense because we have so many planets in retrograde. And I think the retrograde just continues. So by the end of the month, there'll be, I don't even know how many planets, but a lot of planets in retrograde. And this month feels like there's a lot of richness, there's a lot of context, there's a lot of texture to this month. And when I feel that, it's really everything that is kind of happening in your reality is asking you. It's like I see somebody almost like pulling, your hand and saying, do you want to come to your future or do you want to stay rooted in who you've been? And keep kind of looping and maybe staying in some of the old stories and some of the old suffering that is associated or some of the old pain. And it feels like if you say, yes, I want to move to my future, there's this massive ability to release a lot of karmic density, to really step in and embody the new storyline. And for some of you, myself included, you've been working on this for quite some time, and we're still in the kind of, it hasn't fully shown up yet. Like there's the inklings of new growth and new life and new energy. And yet the thing hasn't landed yet for you. You might feel like, okay, when is it going to land? And it's coming soon. But this month is going to give you, it's like the signs that say you're on track. Here's this little thing that you can shift and tweak to come to your future. Here's this heart opening experience that's going to allow you to really embody and integrate some of the lessons that have been trying to work through your life to help you really be able to be the version of, well, I want to say it like this. when you ask for certain things in the future that you want to have, you have to become that version of you. You have to do the work that's aligned with you becoming that version. And so, yeah, you could say, I want to, have this new job or this new relationship. And you've been working on it. And sometimes in that divine sequences of what's happening, you've had to face things might have seemed like they're falling apart or they weren't working in the way that you wanted. But yet, if you haven't given up and you've been holding the frequency of what you desire, you're getting closer. And this month really shows you that. And this month really surprises you with a lot of joyful energy. We're still in that playful Leo energy. So what are the movement choices and decisions that you can make that are going to align you with your future? And this is a very practical energy. It feels kind of like you're looking at your to-do list almost, and you're kind of like, okay, what are the health choices I can make to be, more aligned physically? What are the choices that I can make with my finances? What are the choices I can make in all these different areas? I can, say all these different areas, but what are the things I need to do to become, to get one step closer to my future? So I want you to get really clear on that. And you may want to start off the month like you should every month, taking inventory, pausing and asking yourself, how am I tracking and what am I intentionally working towards? You should always have something that you're working towards, because otherwise you're just kind of on autopilot, right? So what are you working towards and what are the decisions that you have to make that will get you there? And you're going to have a lot of momentum. You're going to have a lot of support in the physical 3D reality to move towards those things. Okay. So that's the first thing. And then I'm going to start with the week, starting with this Tuesday, that was yesterday, the first, where we started off with this Aquarius full moon. And let me just pull the card. So the card for the week of the first, starting off this first week of August, is the third eye. So I'm going to talk to you about this card. So with the third eye, we're given so much. So the unconscious becomes conscious. So much information, so many downloads, so many directives that come straight from source and from your soul. When you give yourself time to receive, which means slowing down, having a meditation practice, tuning in, or allowing your dreams to speak to you, however it's going to come through, you get the divine directives that are guiding you and leading you towards your highest. So yesterday, as a matter of fact, I had a lot of downloads coming through, so much so that I couldn't sleep. And so it really feels like yesterday's full moon in Aquarius kicked this off. And so Aquarius is about the future. Aquarius is a sign of the collective, of how we can bring our gifts to the community, to the collective, right? And with Leo, we're in this space where we're really recognizing our worth and having fun and, being in that big energy, if you will. And each one of us has something that we can contribute to the whole. And I really believe that we have to become whole first, though, within ourselves. And it's not a destination, it's a level of integration over a lifetime, where we're continuing to meet deeper layers of who we are. And hopefully, as you connect to those deeper layers, you have more compassion and grace towards yourself. You have an ability to look back at the tapestry of your life and understand why certain things occurred for you. So I feel a big emphasis on what you're going to be shown this week is a deeper understanding of why things have happened, maybe some of your patterns, and what the next opportunity is for you, which goes very much in alignment with that movement choices and decisions card. We're still in the Venus retrograde that is going through, into September, and Venus rules the heart. Venus is about our ability, to love ourselves, to love others. And when a planet is in retrograde, it gives us such a beautiful opportunity to really look at how we're showing up within ourselves. So this feels to me this week like you are going to have such a great capacity to receive intuition for yourself, for the different parts of your work that parts of your life that you're working on, and to step into a new level of mastery. And to see how maybe you've been blocking yourself. Maybe you've been living with a little bit of a defended heart. Maybe you could open up more in your relationships to other people. There feels like there's a lot of richness within relationships. So you might have some intel on where you're either blocking, hindering, or could allow more with your relationship space. And so I love that, because to me, relationships are what make our reality so much more rich. And this feels where you get to drop some of the defenses and open up more. And whatever information you're shown this week or whatever comes through this week for you, it feels very organic, and it feels as if it gets to open you up more to receive life. And what a beautiful gift that is, right? I mean, the whole reason we're here is to be able to receive life and receive your future. And if you don't know what it is that so I just was working with somebody today, and if I do a lot of identity work, you have to, you're who you are today, and then there's an identity and a person that you want to be in the future. And in order to become her or him, right? You might have some things in the 3D reality, like you have a new car, a new job, or whatever. But more importantly, how do you want to feel? How do you want to be operating? What's the level of confidence? What's the level of grounding and peace that you possess as your future self versus who you are right now? And when you have an idea of where you want to track, I always think it's great to ask the questions of, how can I incorporate? How can I have more of that in my life right now so I can start to become the vibrational match to that version of me? And I feel like this week gives you lots of answers. So spend time out in nature, spend time being quiet, spend time understanding that there's so much more to this life than what our physical eyes see. There's so much information at your fingertips when you're willing to ask the deeper questions of your higher self and of source, and just be with that. So yeah, make sure you journal a lot this week, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of information around the bigger picture of where your life is going. The word that came through actually was blueprint. If you have a blueprint to build a house, well, you're building your life, right? We're always building our life in the sense that we can change anything up. We can make a new choice to go in a new direction. And this week really is there's a lot of revelations to what is and where you want to be and where you want to go. Okay. So that's for this first week. Then as we move into the week of the 7th, let's see what information we're given. This is so funny. I got another chakra card. So this week, though, we get the solar plexus, so this is for the week of the 7th. Solar plexus. How does this relate to what is going to be happening the second week of August? There's an opportunity to build or rebuild your confidence in something that feels really good to you, how you're spending a lot of your time. This is a week of, it's interesting. I hear this supercharging your inner child. That's kind of funny. Supercharging your inner child. And your inner child, I often speak about the wounded child or the magical child. There's all different type of archetypes when it comes to the inner child. But what I want to speak to is the level of energetics one has to play at in order to be magical and be a co-creator of their reality. So when you think about the way that you've structured your life and your belief systems and the way that you operate, a lot of times that is built on the wounded child. So the wounded child is the aspect of us that got hurt in our childhood and created all these beliefs and all these ways to operate in order to stay safe, in order to stay in this, well, it's really unconscious life. And going back to August, and I said you have a chance to your future, to you're being pulled along by the universe to move towards your future. And in order to do that, you get to choose to be conscious. You get to choose to be masterful with how you use your energy, your mastery over emotions, because every day you are creating. So if you're in the wound, then you're going to be creating more of that. It's a frequency that you play at that's a victimization. But when you're coming into magic and the high heart, it's a space of trusting and having alchemized most of the past. It doesn't mean we're always going to be, everything in the past is perfect, but just this deeper understanding of where we've been and how it's supported us in our growth, and how even the bad things that happened to us helped us be certain things that, an example would be, because there was some dysfunction in my early childhood, I was hypervigilant in the sense that I could read a room very quickly and my intuition was very strong. And ironically, that's one of the gifts that I use in my business, is that when I'm doing these channelings, I've developed my gift in order to receive information from the quantum field. So something that was kind of not great actually led to one of my biggest gifts and what I do for a profession. So, but I've alchemized all that. I've really looked at my past and I've seen the good and the bad, and I've made sense of it and I've made peace with it for the most part. So when you're the magical child, you come back to the core essence of who you are. You come back to the joy, to the things. You're coming back to a place of presence. And when you are present, you are in your core. You're in your core. You're in your center. And no matter what's going on around you, it's just stuff. It's just things. Because when you choose to be conscious of how you're operating in your reality, you know that one of your greatest gifts is to be present, because that's where you get to choose the coordinates for where you're going in the future. You can't choose the coordinates if you're on autopilot and you've let somebody, like you're just kind of like plugged it into the car and you're just kind of like, I'm going to get to where I'm going at some point and I'm just going to, hope that it all turns out okay, but maybe you missed the detour. Life is not about being on automatic pilot. Life is about being present right here, right now, feeling in your body what's happening and being able to be so present that you have awareness of what you're choosing into. And it goes back to the August theme of movement, choices, and decisions. What choices are you making that are aligning you and keeping you living this very beautiful life that you're, choosing to align with that future version of yourself? You're very much in your consciousness. And the thing is, I specialize in subconscious work. And we have so many, like that wounded child, like I was saying, they have so many beliefs and stories, and you got to get to the root of that. And you got to switch up the program and the operating system. So if you're listening to this, I don't know how to do that, reach out to me. I do hypnosis, all sorts of reprogramming, because if you don't get to the root and take out the root of the problem, then you're still kind of seeing it from that same broken lens. You're not broken. It's just the lens that you're seeing things through is. So there's always an opportunity to heal and elevate to your next level when you reprogram yourself. So this week is very much about reprogramming yourself, making the choices and decisions, not waiting. You could be looping and healing for years. I literally said to a client today, we were talking about, if you're just picking a scab, which is so gross, I know, but if you're just picking a scab, it's like, that's kind of the concept sometimes of healing. You could always go back and, the scab is right about to, your wound is about to heal over and you're done with it. And then all of a sudden there's another layer. Then you're like, oh, and I need to go back and revisit that again. And sometimes you just have to decide and commit to being the authority of your life and saying that program I've been operating from does not serve me anymore. And I'm ready to make some new decisions and choices that bring me closer to what I want, the life I really want to live. So if you find yourself still in some form of victim mentality that week of the 7, take some time and ask yourself, what would my future self be doing if this was not my operating system anymore? If I felt empowered, if I felt like everything is working out for me, what would I do? So I love this week because you're boosting your confidence, you're boosting your ability to understand your inherent self-worth and your agency and authority over your life. Okay, so have fun this week with making conscious new choices that align you with your future self. Okay. So now I'm going to look at the week of the 14th, and that week, right before we have a Venus Cazimi. So lots of stuff happening in Venus, but let's look at the 14th. We also have a new moon in Leo on the 16th. So in Leo reminds me of the magical child, the play, the joy, the romance of life, the fun, the stage of life. And if you are the leading lady or the leading man of your life, like if you're not waiting for somebody else to lead you, of course you have to be making really beautiful decisions to change things up. And so new moon on the 16th, new beginnings, right? Okay, so let me see what the card for the 14th is. So for the card for the week of the 14th is mental conflict. So this feels as if we are going to really see the diverging pathways this week. We are going to see the different directions that we can go in. It's like something gets really real. There's a lot of healing, as I was saying, there's a lot of healing available in the month of August. There's some beautiful, wonderful energy of support coming in, but you have to make a choice this week. This card is always when somebody's in their indecision and then I don't know if I should go this way or that way. And if I keep looping in this, I'm not going to move forward. I'm creating suffering for myself. So this week, whatever decisions are presented for you, the buffet of your life, whatever decision you have to make, do you want to eat this or do you want to eat that? Do you want to do this or that? Make a choice. So make it from your high heart. It goes back to what I was saying last week. The magical child, the energetics of making decisions based on that healed, more empowered future part of you, that healed child, the magical child, or are you making a decision from your wound? And so whatever conflict comes up, one of the things I'm hearing is a lot of it's an illusion. It's part of what you've been manifesting. It's part of something that you've been kind of dealing with. And so it doesn't feel very big to me in the sense that it's just more of they're kind of saying it's a reassurance of the path that you want to take. And so you might have to leave something from the past behind this week. You might have to, do something symbolic of letting go of the past. Maybe you clear out your closet of clothes that you keep saying you're going to wear, but you're not a size something anymore. And you keep telling yourself and almost lying to yourself that, oh yeah, I'm going to save these clothes because eventually I'm going to get back to the size. This is a week of confronting the truth of who you really are and what you're saying yes to, and whether you're fighting for your limitations or if you're fighting to move forward. And it's very like, there might be a little bit of confronting energy because there's like, it's almost like a mirror is going to be shown to you of, ooh, God, I thought I was tracking this way, but in reality, I'm really fighting for my limitations, and I'm lying to myself about something. I'm telling myself I really want this thing, but in reality, I'm choosing this over here. So there's this conflict, and it causes in your own energy field a lack of clarity and maybe some confusion. So for some of you, this might be really light and easy. For some, depending on where you're at, for others, it might be a bigger decision that you have to make. And the key to this is stillness. The key to this is also understanding that you don't want to be in the suffering. You want things to be moving forward, and you want things to be easier, and to stop lying to yourself. I know that's kind of harsh, but it's the truth of what I'm seeing. Don't BS yourself and say, I really want to be so healthy and thin and eating, great. And I'm doing this. And you say every Monday you're going to start a new diet or health regime, and you never do it. And you're by Wednesday, you're already back to eating the foods that this week is kind of like, stop bullshitting yourself. And so there's a level of integrity that you have to have with yourself in order to go to the new pathway of the future. Transparency of the heart. And when you create conflict within yourself because you are not honest with yourself and not being real with yourself and holding on to some illusion that of whatever it may be for you, it's about, this energy feels like they're saying it's about coming clean. It's about washing off the density. And what I mean by that energetically is letting go of the white lies so that you can come into more wholeness within yourself. This feels like this is about you, your relationship to yourself. This isn't necessarily about somebody else doing something to you. There may be something in your external world that's the catalyst for you to be feeling conflicted. But this is a deeper conversation with yourself where you want to ultimately find the truth of what you're making your choices towards, whether it's towards your limitations and playing small and being in fear, or if it's about moving towards intimacy of the heart, transparency, faith, trust. And there's this beautiful message that if you can choose that faith and trust and intimacy of the heart, you'll be rewarded. And I'm not saying that as like you get a star, you're a star student, but there is something they're saying around your relationships flourish more. The moment that you move out of the conflict and you choose to put both feet into the commitment and be devotional towards what you really want, you start to see rapid results. So I love this energy because it's kind of like a little bit of a push to get you moving forward towards your future. Okay, so that's for that week. Okay, so let's see. We have now the 21st. And let's see. Just going to say that mental conflict, being that it's a new moon that week, there's always an opportunity with a new moon to make new choices. So I love that. Okay, the 21st. So that week we have Virgo season starting on the 23rd. Mercury retrograde begins on that same day. So no need to be afraid of Mercury retrograde. Just don't sign any contracts if you can, all that kind of jazz. But we have Mercury retrograde, I think 3 times a year. It's no big thing. It really isn't. Okay, so for the 21st, let's see what is going on. Recognition and reward. This feels exciting for me. I'm feeling a culmination of something. And what I mean by that is a completion on something, maybe some relief because you did make a decision to move forward towards your dreams. And so there's some recognition, there's some, okay, I'm on the right track, I'm doing the right thing. So I love this card because you can see this person's in the spotlight. this card is dependent on your willingness to show up in your authenticity and truth. And when you do, you are greatly rewarded. And that is going to be different for everybody, obviously, because this is a general reading, right, for the collective. But it's to say, I started off August saying there's a richness to the energy. And this feels like this week, there's that richness drops into your ability to see things reflected back to you. So if you're showing up in who you really are, in your authenticity, and that means that, for the most part, maybe you've been exploring who you are. Maybe you're going through a big identity shift. But this week, it feels like you're recognized. Something about you it's like you're seen, you're witnessed in what you're creating, what you're doing. You might get a little pat on the back. You might get a big sign that you're on the right track. Things start to really lock in. It feels like a cog in a wheel, like it just feels like there's kind of some feeling of like things moving forward, things fitting together, feeling like there's a sense of alignment. I love this, but it definitely means, I'm going to say this again, that you have to be choosing the path of authenticity for you. You don't get, if you get rewarded for being a funny fraud person that is lying behind closed doors, that's only going to last for so long. And I know most of the people listening to this are not that person. But what I'm trying to say is that things are shifting in this reality. And if you haven't been using your discernment and really feeling more connected to yourself, then it's going to be hard for you to understand when something in your external reality is off. But if you've been doing the work and following the path, you have this ability to understand when you're on the right path, even if you don't have all the information. There are signs, there are feelings that come through that really give you a sense of, yes, that I'm moving in the right direction. But it requires you to understand how how you're tracking and who you're showing up as and what your identity is around your ability. And I'm not talking about identity like I'm a mom, I'm this. I'm just saying your future self identity. It goes back to what I was saying last week in the Soulcast, that if you are someone who is still lying to themselves about what they're saying, like they're saying they're doing something, but they're not really doing it, there's fallout. That's the energetics of where this planet is going. That's not going to work anymore. So this week, for those of you who have really been choosing the path of authenticity and the willingness to show up and be more real in your relationships, to be more connected, to live with more of an open heart, you're going to feel like, oh, this feels really good. Things are working out. I love this. And this may be very tangible for some of you. Of you get the promotion, you get the project, you get the home, you get the thing that you've been working on, you get the big sale, you get the big, the next big thing that you've been asking for and looking for, and that you've been working on and making choices towards. Okay. So great energy for this week. Last but not least, we're going to look at the week of the 28th, and we have oh my gosh, Uranus is going to go into retrograde. And then we also have another final full moon in Pisces on the 30th. So 2 full moons this month, lots of culmination. That's why there's so much healing. Lots of retrogrades, so much healing, such an opportunity to revise, review, look at how everything's been happening. So, okay. So for the week of the 28th, the card for that week is, transformation, the death card in the traditional tarot. The ultimate letting go, the ultimate detachment and celebration of what is, right? Staying very present. This does not surprise me with a Pisces full moon. Pisces is the end of the astrological wheel. It's that collective energy. It's when we're very much understanding the wisdom of our journey. And I feel this month is going to provide so much of that for you. And we finish off this month with a really deep understanding of the Phoenix rising. The ego death is never easy. Letting go of parts of ourselves can be challenging. But what's so amazing is what happens on the other side of it. I am a firm believer in composting the old, the thing that you don't need anymore, but composting it and putting it into the fertile soil to grow something new. And it's a cycle, right, of life. And so for some of you, you've been kind of like, when's that new beginning coming? When's that new thing happening? When's it going to lock in? When's it feeling? And it's like this week, it feels like, okay, Phoenix rising, new things being born, new beginnings. Don't be afraid to let go of what no longer serves you. Don't be afraid to clean out the closet, to clean out your garage, to clean out your hard drive, to clean out your phone, get rid of old photos. Like really see it as like, I am starting anew and I'm ready and I'm willing to have my glow up, to have my rebirth, to be the Phoenix rising, for all this work that I've been doing on myself to show up in a new, more embodied way. So I love this energy because I feel that you get to receive yourself. And what I mean by that sounds kind of strange, but receive the energy of the new. If you've been working with that future self identity this week, you see a tangible difference. You feel, okay, that new beginning, that thing that I've been waiting for, it's coming, it's on its way, it's here. So for some of you, this is going to be affecting your sacral chakra, your ability to, think about birthing new beginnings, but also really the ending of codependency. I just see such a those relationships that were hanging on by a string, let them go this week. Those, whether it's friendships or work relationships or whatever, if something's not working, get rid of it or start anew. I always like to say, if it's an expired contract, rip it up, be done with that contract and start a new contract. And I'm talking about from a soul perspective, but you can also think about it from a very 3D reality perspective of, when a contract is done, it's done, start something fresh, start something new. So there is this feeling that you've been working on your own healing process, and those ways that maybe you were codependent before, you didn't trust yourself, or you weren't your own advocate, you're letting that go. And you're really stepping into this new level of embodiment this week. That might be the Phoenix rising for you, as you're just like, wow, I feel so much more comfortable in my skin. I feel I can regulate my nervous system. I feel really good. And when you can regulate your nervous system, you have the capacity to receive the very things that you've been asking for. You're not rocked so easily. You've been doing, there's like the whole storyline here where you're really coming into a higher octave, a higher energetic to create your reality from. So it feels really like a beautiful ending to this month to have that new beginning, that new birth, that new energy start to show up. So full month, a very full month. There's, 5 weeks essentially to August. And there's a softening that's available to you through your capacity to really receive all of you. So many people that I work with do not receive all of who they are. They're pushing and resisting so much about themselves, and they create so much suffering. So what if you could just soften a little bit and have more compassion towards yourself and accept the parts of yourself that are more shadowy or that you feel ashamed of? There would be so much alchemy and so much transformation available to you. And if you've listened to this and you want a deeper level of support, message me. I have one-on-one support that starts at 6 months and up to a year. And I also have an incredible mastermind called Majestic Mastermind. And all of my work is about healing, but doing it, future forward. You're not just focused on the past and just kind of going back and picking the wound. You're really in this sense of like, I want to move forward. I want to become my best self. And you're always going to be doing that as you grow and evolve, but you're doing it from a very conscious way. And I do a lot of subconscious reprogramming, a lot. I feel like when you learn how to access that super conscious part of yourself, everything shifts. You can literally command and bring in a new life. So if you're somebody that's been listening to some of the things I'm saying and you're like, I really want to work with this girl, I want to go deeper, please reach out to me. And I do have some other offers. I have a masterclass that's going to be coming up called The Leading Lady. I'll be sharing details about that soon. But I'm here to support you. I'm here to help you elevate and become your best self. So reach out. I hope you have a gorgeous month of August. I'm so, like I am every month, I go into it with so much openness and curiosity to see what's going to happen. And most importantly, I just stay present to what is. Okay, see you next month for the Soulcast. Take care.